Hi, I'm Kiro.
Hi, I'm Marina.
Hi guys, I'm Mora.
Hi, I'm Kiro.
Hi everyone, I'm John.
Okay, so these are all the servants that are going to be going on the trip. So there's 9 of us. So don't worry, your kids are in good place. I'm going to go over the packing list, but I'm going to emphasize a little bit on the clothes that we're going to be wearing at the monastery. Just remember, we're going to these monks' houses. This is where they live, so we have to be very, very careful of what we're wearing. So for the girls, please, please, no leggings or any tight clothes. Get sweatpants, get loose pants, something that does not show the body, and from the top, just something loose as well. So no tight tops, nothing like that. It gets chilly some of the day, so bring jackets. You can bring some hoodies, just to make sure that you're not cold. For the boys, obviously no shorts. I feel like that goes without saying. We're in the winter too. And the same thing. Just make sure you're respectful of the place, and whatever you're wearing represents that. We are going to be in the monastery for a total of 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So pack 4 different outfits for those 4 days. And then on Sunday, we're going to go to Disney. We usually give you guys the hoodies to wear there, so you don't really have to pack an outfit for that day, just pants that go with the hoodie. And for Saturday, it will be a travel day. So probably what you're going to be wearing the whole day. Unless you want to change during the day, then you can do that. So a total of 6 different outfits, and then a travel outfit for the last day. I know I'm going through the specifics of outfits because I know girls care about that, so I got you. For the boys, don't forget your tonia, because we're going to be praying liturgy there every single day. So you're going to need your tonia. Okay, if you don't have one, let Yusuf know. For the girls, please bring your sharps. There are no sharps there. There is no monks there, so it's mainly just, there's no nuns there, so it's mainly just monks. There will not be any sharps there. There is no makeup allowed in the monastery for the girls. You can put makeup when we go to Santa Monica. We're not going to Santa Monica, sorry. When you go to Disney, but you cannot put makeup in the monastery. And let me just see. If you get cold at night, bring covers. They usually provide covers and sheets and pillows, but if you get extra cold at night, just bring extra covers in case you want to cover up extra. And the most important thing, make sure you bring an ID. If you're not 18, you can bring a school ID. If you're 18, you have to bring a government ID, or you can't fly at all. It has to be the real ID, the one with the star on top. Okay? The real ID. Yeah, let me go over that right now. So each kid is allowed either 1 carry-on or 1 checked bag. You cannot bring both, okay? If you're getting a carry-on, which is a small bag, this is printed out, and each person's gonna get a copy. So don't worry about like memorizing that information, and I'll share in the chat too. You can get carry-on. There's no weight for the carry-on, but it cannot have any liquids. So remember, if you're packing up shampoo, conditioner, body wash, any like makeup, any skincare products, whatever, it cannot exceed 3.4 ounce if you're gonna put it in the carry-on. If it exceeds 3.4 ounce, you have to put it in the big checked bag. So if you know that you're gonna bring any liquids, just bring a checked bag. If you don't wanna bring a checked bag, let us know and we can put one of those in our bags. So if you wanna bring a small bag, but you wanna bring a big bottle of shampoo, let one of us know and we're gonna put it in one of our bags or one of the extra bags. The checked bag weighs 50 pounds. Please make sure you wait before you bring it, because we have a lot of problems at the airport where we have to move stuff around and it takes a lot of time when we have to check in 55 people. So make sure the bag is not overweight before you bring it to the airport. Again, everything in this paper will be shared in the group, and we have a printed paper as well. The last thing I want to emphasize, every person needs to bring their own Bible, a physical Bible. You're not going to be allowed to use your phones for any quiet times, for any lectures, for anything. So make sure you bring your own physical Bible. If you don't have a Bible, just let one of us know, and we'll bring you one.
You're only allowed 1 bag, not because of us. Just the bus that we have can only fit so many bags, and with 80 people, We can't fit a checked bag and a carry-on for every single person. So that's why we're limiting it to one. And also, CVS is bringing a tow truck. So if you're parked at CVS, please move your car. Okay? Yeah. Just a side note. It's not part of the trip. Okay, yeah. We're going to land Saturday. We're going to land Saturday. We're going to spend one night at the hotel, all of us, and then the next morning we go to Universal, pack up, Disney, and then we're going to go straight to the monastery. Yes, John. So this year, we start the fast for Lent on the 16th. So instead of going to Disney when it's fasting, we're going to go to Disney when it's not fasting, and then spend the fast in the monastery. Is that okay with you? Yes, Johnny. There's not going to be Fitari food at the monastery. So, yes, you're forced to fast. Any other questions? Marola. A little bag. You bring what? You can bring that. That's like a personal item. Yeah. No. Yeah. Come here.
Okay. For just a personal item is a backpack or a tote bag for the girls. You can bring that on top of the big bag. But you can't bring a carry-on and a big bag. Does that make sense? Like you can bring a purse, a tote bag, a backpack with you at the airport. As long as it's something you can fit under the seat and you can fit with you on the bus. That doesn't have to go under the bus. You can do that.
The other thing I want to say is if you have like a purse and a personal item, which is like your tote bag, they're going to say like you need to consolidate them. So everything that you bring on the plane has to be in one bag on the actual plane. That's all. The question was, when are they going to know which kids are?
Oh, we're going to send out the list. We're going to send out the list. Abuna Luke is going to be on the first flight. I'm going to be on the second flight. And then we're going to split up some servants on both flights. I'll tell you, give me 2 days. I have to finalize it with the airline. Aywa, yeah. I'm going to send it out. We're going to send out who's on which flight. Yes. No, you cannot pick which flight you're on. But don't worry, I'll put you with your friends. Don't worry. You won't be by yourself. Yes. On the plane, you can switch whatever. Just when you get on the plane, you sit down and then do whatever you want.
Thank you. I want to thank the servants first before I start talking, because many if you guys are coming on the trip, I expect to get your attention as soon as I hold the mic, or any of the servants. If you're not going to give me or the servants your attention as soon as we stand up like this, then we're going to have a problem on the trip, okay? Because we have a huge group. And if we cannot control the group, then you might as well stay home. Because if anything happens, believe me, I'm going to make sure that you're not going to ruin it for everybody else, okay? People paid money to go on this trip so that they could enjoy it. If anyone does not have the intention of doing that, then please reconsider, because we still have some people on the wait list. Okay? Please reconsider. If you're not going to be cooperating and helping out to make sure that everybody's enjoying the trip, then you're going to have an issue. Like I was saying in the beginning, I want to thank the servants very much, because as many of you know, that the trip was supposed to be for 55 individuals. And as soon as we opened up the registration, we have to have a system of registration. There has to be a system, and the system that we decided on from the beginning, the servants and the head servants and the clergy, was that we're going to have a priority for those of you that will not be able to go next year, because then this would be your last year, meaning seniors. Because if seniors are going to graduate this year, then they won't be able to go next year. So this is basically the only reason why we opened up to seniors first. But if you have any ideas or an opinion or some guidance or feedback, we would like to hear from you, not necessarily today, but I'd like to get your feedback on this issue, dealing with it in the future, for next year and the years after. We all would love to have everybody in the church go on this trip, honestly. But there is limitations in the monastery. There's limitations. The buses that we're renting, there's limitations. On the plane tickets, the prices of the plane tickets, there's a lot of limitations. So I don't want someone to feel that we are leaving them behind on purpose or not giving them a fair chance. So like I said, if you have any idea that you could give us, you could reach out to Yusuf or any of the servants or myself or Abuna Timothy, just so we could reconsider the way that we do registration for next year. Because you all know what happened this year. We got some death threats this year from some of the kids that were not going on the trip, and we got some threats that they were going to go to servants' homes and do things. So I don't want to see this next year, okay? So I want to thank the servants because they're the ones that made that decision to open it up and to take an extra, I would say about between 25 to 30 extra kids on the trip. This means we have to accommodate for extra individuals. This means that we all have to work together, and this is the reason why I said in the beginning, what I said is that I need you to cooperate with us, the servants, and with each other. We have a bigger group than usual. We have a bigger group than usual. If you're not going to make it easy for others, it's going on a trip, it's going to be difficult on you, not us. Okay, I want to make sure that you understand it. If someone is going to give the servants a hard time, it's on you. I know maybe the servants, I don't know what they got into in the discussion, but I want to make sure that it's understood that the place, we last year we had a beautiful experience with the servants and the youth that went. We had an issue with the housing, and honestly, the youth that were in the rooms and how they dealt with the situation and the servants were amazing. Even the abbot of the monastery was so amused with how beautiful the youth handled the situation. They did not make a big fuss about it. They didn't make a scene and get upset, but they cooperated and they enjoyed their time. I'm not going to get into this issue now, but I want to make sure that we understand that we're all there to help each other out and to enjoy the trip. That's our intention. And I want to make sure that each one of you enjoys the trip. One thing that I say to the parents is that I ask you to please allow us to serve the kids that week. Do not interfere with our service. I understand that you trust the servants and you trust the church, and the fact that you allowed your kids to go with them is the biggest proof that you trust the servants and you trust the clergy that are going on the trip. Abuna Timothy will be overseeing the whole trip, and I'm going to be helping out. So, but I'm asking you to humbly, please, do not interfere with our decisions. We have a way that we run the trip, and the way that we run the trip, it's been happening for years, and thank God it's been successful. So if your child calls you from Disneyland and says, "Mom, they don't want to let me go on this ride, they don't want to let me go on this show," please do not interfere. There might be a reason why we're doing that, okay? The worst thing is if your kid calls you and says, Mom, pick me up from the airport tomorrow or something. Then you know there is a problem. And this problem is not on us or on you, but it has to do with the youth, the boy or the girl that's on the trip. Okay? So if they do that, then you know that there is an issue. Has this happened in the past? It did happen because there was someone that insisted on ruining the trip for other kids, and we were not going to deal with it. So the way that it was handled, I'm not going to get into it now, but this is basically the ultimate outcome of an individual that's not behaving or not cooperating or wants to break the rules and the guidelines that we have for the trip. I'm not saying this to threaten or to scare you. I want to promise you, just as the servants have been doing in the past, you're going to have the best time of your life on this trip. I promise you of that. You're going to have the best time on this trip. What I just said previously was to those that want to ruin it for you guys. So if there's someone that's going on the trip that wants to ruin the trip for somebody, that's who I was addressing previously, but not everyone else. As far as everyone else goes, we promise you, we'll take care of you, we'll spoil you, we'll make sure that you come back happy and enjoyed the trip. First of all, not just enjoying going to places, but most importantly is that you come back with a spiritual benefit. This is the idea behind the whole retreat, and that's our intention, to enjoy the retreat, to have fun, and to come back with the spiritual growth. We're going to have, this year is a little bit different because we have the fasting. We're going to go into fast. So the schedule is a little bit different than every year. I'm sure that the servant said if there's any allergies or dietary restrictions or anything, please let us know in advance, not when we're there. Please let us know today, or make sure you reach out to one of the servants or the priests, either Abuna Timothy or myself, before we go on the trip. Because sometimes with the restrictions or allergies or anything like that, or special needs with medications or anything, just to make sure that we are prepared, if there's any situation that happens, then we know how to handle this. Thank God we have a few medical professionals on the trip. We have nurses, we have a nurse, we have pharmacists, we have doctor of pharmacy, we have a few different specialties in the medical. So thank God we're covered as far as that. So, but just make sure that you let us know if there's any special needs for your child. If they have allergies, if they have food issues, they don't have, they can't eat. One of the things that I know that Merit might have mentioned, the girls, please keep in mind that we're going to a monastery, and this place is the monks' home. This is where they live. This is their house. Basically, they left everything behind. Can you imagine you leaving your bedroom, your home, your car, your friends, everything? You leave everything behind, and then you go to live in the monastery. And basically, this becomes their home. So imagine somebody coming into your house and intruding and jumping up and down and causing chaos in your home and throwing things around and putting garbage everywhere. Would you like anyone to come to your house and do that? So please keep in mind, we are visiting the monks where they live. This is their house. This is where they live. We have to keep in mind the quiet time that they have. We can't be loud. We can't dress in certain ways. We cannot be a stumbling block for the monks, basically, whether it's boys or girls. With our words, the way that we talk, the way that we behave, they live in quietness there. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, Last year we had an issue with the hotel. And when we were doing the reservation this year, they were gonna refuse doing reservation for our church. And the reason why is those of you that went last year, you know why. Should I mention names of people that went last year? So, thank God no one here went last year. I don't see any faces that caused any problems last year. Some of you might have been there, but it wasn't any of you that caused any problems. I looked at everybody. I don't see anyone that was misbehaving last year. Everybody was doing amazing last year. Johnny, you weren't misbehaving. No. I'll take questions at the end, Johnny. Just let me finish. So, the hotel, when we were doing reservation, last year we had about close to 60, and we had some issues. The kids were running around, knocking on doors, making a lot of noise in the middle of the night, and they were running in the hallway. And the way that the manager of the hotel put it was, it sounded like there were riots in the hallway. Imagine 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they feel that there were riots outside the room. Riots يعني مظاهرات يعني. So this is exactly what the people were complaining of. And kids were knocking on other people's doors in the middle of the night. So basically they were about to refuse our church from doing reservations. We book for 80 people, we have at least maybe 25, 30 rooms, right? We have close, maybe 30 rooms or something. Imagine looking for 30 rooms in one hotel, or even in 2 hotels. In that area, it's very crowded, very busy, very expensive. So the deals that we've been getting for the past years have been very reasonable, especially for our situation. The other hotels that we found in the area were at least maybe at least close to $4,000 or $5,000 more for the rooms that we were going to rent. At least $4,000 to $5,000 more. So imagine if we lose this hotel. First of all, they're not going to accept any more Coptic churches in that area, in that hotel. Second, it's going to cost us a lot more. And that means instead of asking for that number from you guys, it might go up a couple of $100 because the church is not going to carry that cost. So I want you to understand that we are there to not to cause problems, but I expect you guys to behave and to please understand that other people are in the space that we're in, whether in the monastery or in the hotel, or even in the parks that we're going to. So, and when we put on the shirts, people look at you and they see that you're from a church. If they hear you cursing or saying bad things or pushing each other around and causing trouble, one time a security guard came to one of the servants in Disneyland and said, in Universal, and asked, "Are you guys really from a church? Or you just have these shirts on?" Can you imagine when the security guard is asking, "Are you guys really from a church? Or you just have these shirts on?" What kind of a behavior was this individual showing? So please keep that in mind. There's a lot of other stuff that we'll go through, maybe not necessarily with the parents, but I'll make sure that when we meet with the youth, we'll make sure that it's understood. Johnny, you wanted to ask something? Thank you, Johnny. So last year and the year before, I said the servants were proposing that we take the phones, and I said I'd like to give responsibility and space to the youth because they're responsible and they're adults and they could decide for themselves. What happened last year was that some people were abusing the fact that we were letting you have the phones. So I will let you know. I'll have to discuss it with Abuna Timothy and the servants. But last year, some people abused it. So that means it's exactly what I was saying in the beginning, that someone does something and he messes it up for everybody else. So I'll talk to Abuna Timothy and the servants, and I'll get back to you on it. I'll let you know. But it's good to have a source of communication to your parents. If you don't have a phone on you, it's okay, because most likely that week there's no reception in the monastery. There's hard reception because it's in the middle of the desert. So that week, probably you're not going to be on your phone, you're not going to be on any devices. Any other questions? Thank you. So we're blessed this year. When I talked to the abbot of the monastery, Abuna, that's in charge, the capacity of the monastery, the retreat house, is about 50, or maybe even less. They allowed us to put air mattresses and take extra youth with us, which was about 55, 60. This year, we have 80 something with us on the trip. The only way that God opened this up for you guys that came in and that were on the waiting list and came in late was the monastery opened up an extra home that was closed down for many years. They just opened it a few months ago. They were renovating the house and they had not gotten a CO on it. And I called the Abuna right before we open it up for you guys, before Yusuf sends out the message. And Abuna said that he was waiting on the permit to open the home. And then a few weeks later, they got it approved, and now it's available for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that home for the boys and the retreat house for the girls, where we used to be last year. Any other questions? We're gonna have one bus for the whole group. You know how big is the biggest bus? How big is the biggest bus? Huh? 55. 55 is the biggest bus that was available in California for many years. I've been going to Cali since 1998. How many years is that? 28 years. Yeah. 28 years. The biggest bus was 55 and someone sits in the front. That's 56. For 28 years. This year, when we opened it up for 80 of the youth, you know what's the biggest bus we found? 80 passenger bus. For the first time in the history of me going to Cali, this was the only time that we had found this bus. So I want you guys to understand that you guys are special to God. God made things work out for you. He opened up an extra building in the monastery. He got us a bus that doesn't even exist. I don't know how many of you saw a bus, an 80-passenger bus. He got you a bus that doesn't even exist. Plus, so when I was told that we got the 80-passenger bus, I said, oh, but there's one point, there's something that you're not going to be able to solve. They said, what? I said, I'm going to have 80 bags. The guy said, oh, I got you space in the back. He has space on the bus for 80 bags. So I want you to understand and appreciate and be grateful that God is making changes on things so that you guys could go to the monastery this year. And it's a blessing. And I want you to be grateful for it. It's not just a trip that we're going on. It's a very special trip that God is planning out for you in very special ways. We start off with the greatest servants we have, and that's a blessing that we have in the church, honestly, Because if it wasn't for these servants being available and making themselves available, taking off from work and keeping that week for the trip and the service, this wouldn't have been able to take place. So I want to give a round of applause to the servants. If any of the parents cannot reach your kids during the time that we're there, I'm sure that you have a phone number for the servants. If you can't reach the servants, you could text either Abuna Timothy or myself and let me know who it is and who you're asking about, if there's anything. And again, I'm going to ask you to please, like I said in the beginning, trust us that we'll do the best with your kids. We're not going to hurt them. We're not going to kidnap them. We're not going to do anything. We're there to take care of them and make them enjoy the trip as much as possible. So if they call you or they complain or anything, do not automatically conclude that your child is being tortured. I will make sure that they're not tortured, and Abuna Timothy will oversee that himself as a principal. Thank you.
So we're going to hand out these permission slips right now. The parent has to sign it, and the kid has to sign it also. And I've seen, personally, Abuna Luke send somebody back from the airport because they did not have their permission slip. Okay? So you cannot get on the plane with us if you do not have this permission slip. Okay? Kiro and I think Murat are handing them out right now.
The reason why... Thank you, Yusuf. The reason why I sent the person back again, because this slip... If anyone gets sick and we have to take them to the God forbid, to the hospital, which happened many times throughout the years that I was on the trip, I cannot represent you unless we have this form signed. And one of the parents, the individual that Yusuf is referring to, that I sent back, his father called me on the phone and his mom and said, Abuna, just sign it for him. You know that there's nothing to it. I said, I'm sorry. This was handed out to your son months back, and it was on you and him and your son to sign the form. I'm not going to take that responsibility. And so the kid went back home, and it was up to him to catch the flight. So again, the reason why we need this, and this is serious, because we did use it a few times when we go to the hospital. If there's anything, God forbid, if there's a situation, the hospital will ask for this form if we have a consent form from the parent to represent the parent for any reason. Even in the airport, this is a form that we represent the parent with. And I want to talk about the ID that Merit was saying. If you don't have the real ID, you're going to have to bring something that you could fly with. If you're under 18, bring the school ID with you. But if you're over 18, you're going to have to bring a real ID, the one that says real ID, or a passport. I don't want you to carry your passport for sure, because if you lose it, then it's a big problem to get it back, to do another one. So if you do have a chance to do the real ID before we leave, that would be the perfect thing to do.
And also, we usually ask for a picture of your son or daughter's insurance card, like medical insurance card, just in case for emergencies. So we're going to send you a number, send it to, and then so we all have it in one spot, so that if, God forbid, we need to take anybody anywhere for any reason, that everything is taken care of. So we'll send that out today for most likely to send it to Veronia, the picture of the insurance card. Just 20 seconds.
No.
If you want to take a picture of it before we collect it back, we can, but we're going to send the whole PDF in the chat when we're done. Also, I don't know if we mentioned this. Just ask. Yeah, like we said, everything is going to be taken care of. If you want to bring a little spending money for Disney, you can. But well, the Disney ticket includes a voucher for food, and all the other food is taken care of. Also, if you want to donate any money to the monastery, if they sign it, you can take it. Also, if you want to make any donation to the St. Anthony's Monastery, just bring it to either myself or one of the servants or Abuna, and we usually put it all together and we hand it to the monastery with a donation that we already brought. So if anybody wants, just bring it with you on the trip.
The donations for the monastery, I just want to let you know that the monastery does everything for us while we're there. So we get some snacks and some stuff for the group, but the monastery, they don't have a set price for sleeping there, spending the whole week. They don't charge us any specific price or food or anything that we do. So if we offer them a donation on behalf of the church and the group, but if I just want you to understand that there is no set price. It's not like a hotel or a retreat center where they charge you $50 per day or $100 per day. They don't charge that kind of money, but it all depends on the donations that we send and we collect to present as one donation from the church and from the youth and the families.
Okay, some quick last minute announcements. For those on the live, if you don't have a permission slip, please come this Friday. We'll have the permission slips, and you can bring it either the following Friday or before we get on the plane or at the airport. The 2 flights leaving Newark Airport, one flight is at 12, so please be at the airport at 8 a.m. on the 14th, because we have 56 people to check in as a group, so it takes a really long time to check in 56 people, so we really appreciate if you guys would be there at 8 a.m. for the 12 o'clock flight. For the 6 p.m. flight, please be at the airport by 3, because we're a smaller group. We can manage in 3 hours at Newark Airport. We're going to send all the flight details. Question. I'm going to send you which flight you're on. I'm going to send it in the chat. It's not split up by grade. It's not split up by anything. It's not random. You're going to be with your friends, don't worry. Yeah, collect them. If they fill them out, collect them. I'm gonna send it to you I have to give it to the flight by tomorrow. So I'm gonna finalize with Abuna Luke, Abuna Timmy, and we're gonna send it to you guys. Yeah, on the returning flight, we're all gonna be together. We're gonna land at Newark on the February 21st at about 12:30 to 1 a.m. So come get your kid on about midnight. 12:30, 1 a.m. from Newark Airport on the 21st. That's when we'll be landing. We'll get our bags, and then you're free to go. We are meeting at the airport on the 14th, and you have to drop off your kid at the airport and pick them up from the airport. We do not have any way to get them from here to the airport.
So just one quick thing. Guys, just give me your attention for 1 second. John. Just one quick thing while we're filling out these papers and we're finalizing everything right now. One important element of this trip, that as much as we're talking about a lot of logistics right now, and we have like the paper, the insurance, the packing list, and all this, all these things that we are planning right now, I don't want like the meat of this trip to be lost in all of the details. The friends, the flight, the rooms, the bus, the this, that, and the third. Right? Because a lot of the times when we speak before and after the trip, when we talk about like a reference point in our Thank you. Whenever we sit and we speak and we have a reference point in our life, this trip is always used as, I don't know what happened since Cali, or I can't wait for Cali because I need to restart this, or A, B, and C. So this trip is an important part of our life and an important part of our spiritual life. And the one main thing I want to highlight about this trip is that it does not become an event, just a one-time, one-week event. So there is some pre-work and there is some post-work that needs to happen along with this trip from both youth and also us as parents and families as well. So before we get into the next phase of it, I also just want to say thank you really quick to all of the parents that came today and made it a priority to be here today for this trip and know what's going to happen with your children for the week and how the trip is run and so on and so forth. So thank you for making the sacrifice of an hour and 15 minutes on a Sunday to be here for this meeting. But the important thing that I just want to highlight about the post-work for this trip is that it's important to maintain what we pull from the trip after. And part of the maintenance of maintaining what we pull from the trip after is what we do together, you youth individually, the work that you do, and also us together as families here. So we started something back in September that we wanted to make part of the high school service, is a parent meeting that we do 3 times a year. One at the beginning of the year, one right before Lent, but it's not going to happen before Lent this year. I'll tell you when right after, and one right before summer, right before different benchmarks that happens in our children's lives. So, although yes, this trip is important, your child is going to be gone for a week. Everything is as God wills, everything will be okay. As we see, God has been willing God has been taking care of this trip from A to Z from the beginning, and He always will. But what happens after the trip and what happens before the trip is up to us as youth, and it's up to us as families. So I'm going to ask that as we put together these things and what we mentioned, and I also really quickly, side note, want to thank those parents that also came for that first meeting as well, and also I see a lot of them here today too for this meeting. But in order to continue the work that happens in California, that happens on retreats, that happens on spiritual days, that happens on all the things that we do, is how we follow up outside of these things that are planned. And we know, even though they're with us for a week in California, they're with us for an hour and a half on Friday, an hour on Sunday, liturgy, most of the time is spent where? Between school and home, right? So we want to make sure we bridge between what happens on these retreats and these things that happen within the church, also in the other church that they're supposed to be going to, which is our homes. So all of these things are meant to be put in place. We bridge the gap. So I'm hoping that we can follow up on the next time we gather together, which I think was March 1st, will be the next parent meeting. And we usually send, by the way, all the parents, are we on the high school parent chat? Where we send is anyone not on the parent chat for high school? So if you're not on the parent chat, see any one of the servants to be added to, because that's where all the updates happen. And last time we tried to schedule it in December, but there was a lot of things that were going on right before we went to Egypt. But at the same time, even though with a lot of things going on in Egypt, there was not much response that happened to the parent meeting. Right? So if we want to make sure we prioritize the continuation of what happens in these events and these experiences, it's important that we gather together and we hash things out with each other. Or what do they say? Na'ish hagat ma ba'd. What? Na'ish? Na'ish. Right? So that's what happens in these meetings. Right? So when we send the flyer, we hope that we can make these gatherings together so that way we can continue the work that happens in and out of this trip. Excuse me. And everything else that we do throughout the year. And you also stay informed as what happens throughout the year. And all your children know I'm very unfiltered. I'll say anything to them, in front of them, or around them. They don't tell you everything that happens. They don't tell you what's going on in and out of the service. They don't tell you that sometimes they don't show up and they come late. Or they're not going to tell you that. Right? But when we come to the parent meetings, and we come to these gatherings together, that's where we can find out what's going on each and every week, and you know what everything looks like throughout the service. So although this trip is an important benchmark, it's not meant to be a one-time event. It's supposed to be something that gives us a boost, so that way we can fire ourselves up and improve in our spiritual life. Part of the parent meeting, the servants created the barcode over here that has a form for parents about anything you would like to be mentioned or discussed in the parent meeting. We usually start a parent meeting with a small word on things that are going on surrounding or issues that are presented by parents, and then and then we would like to break up into either male or boys, or anyone that has boys or anyone that has girls, or general issues or questions. So the servants would break themselves up in that way, so that way we can address any different issues together as families. So if you would like to contribute, or if there's something you'd like to see in that parent meeting discussed or happen, please scan that barcode and fill out that form, so that way the servants know how to plan for the next one. So I hope to see everyone there. At the next one, of course, continue to pray for the church, its service, the fathers, the servants, and also not just our own children, but all of your children's friends as well, because, again, we're all a family and we're all growing together and serving together. So it was great to see everyone today. I'm sorry because I have to run right now to a far part of New Jersey, but I'm happy to see everyone today and look forward to another beautiful year in California. Thank you.
Just going to mention one more time, please send a picture of your kids' insurance cards to Veronia. We're going to send her number in the parents chat. Does anybody have any questions? No questions? Then we did a good job. Okay. All right. Muna, that's it.
If we don't have any questions, we could say a prayer and then be dismissed. تفضلوا نصلي. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. We thank you, Lord, for being with us today. We ask you to bless all your servants and your sons and daughters who are standing before you in this holy place, and to bless everything we've spoken about, and to be among us as we remember that we are your sons and daughters, representing you to the whole world. Through the intercessions of all your beloved saints, hear us when we pray thankfully, saying, Our Father who art in heaven, be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Christ Jesus our Lord, thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. You may go in peace. The peace of the Lord be with you all. Amen.
If you have a red Pathfinder, license plate LGM 8929, please move your car. Red Pathfinder LGM 8929. You are blocking someone else. Sorry, I'm. Thank you.